And it's 8:05. Do you agree that we start? Yes? Okay, in that case, I'm going to share my screen. I hope you can all see this. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about why are we here now? Why are we organizing this? And what is going to happen this evening? First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Guy Tilkin, as you can read. I used to work in Eldenbiesen, and in 1995, I started an international storytelling festival in Eldenbiesen, which I coordinated during 20 years, but then it was taken over by a colleague. I did a high number of European projects, non-storytelling and storytelling projects during my career. And at this moment, I am the chair of board of the FEST network. And since this is a special time, I would like to introduce to you the novelties, not myself. I have invited somebody, a speaker for that, the novelties in the new program. First of all, to set the scene a little bit, today we are going to talk about the Erasmus Plus program, which is an educational program. So a European funding program for education and training. And that means that this is not directly something like a cultural program. There is another program in Europe that is specifically for culture, which is the Creative Europe program. And so if you're looking for opportunities for mobility and cooperation as an artist and in your profession as an artist, as a performer, then it would be best you turn to the Creative Europe program. But the Creative Europe program at this moment, the call is not issued yet. The guidelines for that new program they aren't there yet. So we expect the guidelines to be released next week, perhaps, or the week after, let's say end of April, but with a question mark. And we expect the deadlines for a project application to be something mid-June and June. It depends. So we don't know anything yet about the Creative Europe project, the program, sorry. And so that's, but there is a but. If we're looking at a storyteller and if we're looking at applied storytelling, then we can move to the Erasmus Plus program. So today we talk about the Erasmus Plus program. Again, I have to say, because we had already another introduction a couple of months ago about the program, but now on the 1st of April, the guidelines of the new program, because we are in a new period from 2021 till 2027, there is a new program, a new Erasmus Plus program with funding rules, with new funding rules. Some of them are similar as the previous one, but there are some new accents and new rules and new opportunities. And that's what we're going to talk about, because now it's application time. That doesn't mean that you should panic if you're not ready for an application, because next year there will be another deadline for applications, and the year after there will be another deadline for applications. So there are more opportunities. We're talking about a 7-year program, a 7-year funding program. But today we are talking about applied storytelling. So storytelling as an instrument for other goals in society. And that can be didactic goals like storytelling in school, or it can be some goals like inclusion, working with migrants, or it can be storytelling and heritage, or it can be storytelling and tourism. So there are many sectors in society that can profit from quality storytelling and where storytelling can be used. And some of them can be tackled through or developed even through the Erasmus Plus program. And that's why we do it this evening for the new program. So the call again was on the 1st of April this year. The deadlines are the 11th of May and the 20th of May for another part of the program. So we're talking, so this is what we're going to talk about. I'm at the end of this presentation, I will also talk about some funding opportunities for culture in other European programs, but that's just presenting a brochure. So that's not really explaining things. So we're going to talk about what's new in the new Erasmus Plus program, 21 till 27. And our first speaker, you may know her from the previous presentations on Socrates, sorry, not on Socrates, on Erasmus Plus, Renilde Reynders from the Flemish National Agency for Erasmus Plus. And then we will have Arjen, and he will talk about some project examples from the Storytelling Center in Amsterdam. And then it will be me again talking about also about some project examples and about funding opportunities for culture. So that's it. That's my introduction. I would like to say, and I already forgot it, that we're going to record this meeting, this presentation. If you're not happy with the recording, if you want to remain anonymous, then you can change your name and or you can turn off your camera. Yes. So that's what we're going to do, but we will record it. I will stop sharing now, and then I will give the floor to Renilde Reynders. Renilde, the floor is yours, but I have to stop share first. And now I hit the recording button, which is, am I recording at this moment? Can somebody tell me that? I have the impression.
Yes, you are.
Aha, okay, I didn't press that button, but anyway, we're recording. Okay, Renilde, it's yours. The floor is yours. We don't hear anything.
She's muted.
Renilde, you're muted.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. I was asking, can you see my screen?
Yeah. Yes, we can.
Can you? Yeah, you all do? Okay, fine. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Well, I am going to present to you the new Erasmus Plus program, and I'm going to try to focus on those things that can be worthwhile for you as a storyteller. So what is in Erasmus Plus for you? That's my starting point. And I'm happy to say that the program has things to offer you. But my screen does not move. Why not? Ah, yeah, now it does. Okay, nice news. We've got a lot more money. As you can see, we used to have 14 billion euro for 7 years, the former 7 years, but now we'll have 26.2 billion euro. So that's almost double. Yeah. So that's good news. Also good news is that the program wants to become far more easy, easier, simpler, so nicer to get to it. So the threshold will be lower. That's nice. Also nice, small projects are welcome and stressed. So tiny things are possible. That's also nice. Okay. So we are happy with this program. Small scale, short term, simple. You'll hear it often tonight. 4 important issues for the program, 4 important priorities or things that wants to contribute to via learning. What should we do without learning? Huh? Try a society without education. Where will we be? This is inclusion. And inclusion now it has not only a reference to people like migrants and asylum seekers, but also for all people who have difficulties and face barriers to participate in education. And that can be because of health problems, because of economic problems, yeah, like living in poverty. But the range of people with fewer opportunity is very broad. And so also lesbians, for instance, sex problems, religion problems. So all these things barriers belong to the fewer opportunities. And if you do a project and you focus on target groups with fewer opportunities, you'll get a bonus. You'll get extra priority and also extra money. You'll see. The program also wants to contribute to a greener Europe, yeah, where the environment gets a lot of attention and care. The digital society is also happening. Like now, we are doing this online. And since March last year, I have constantly been working online. And some of you have been doing performances, storytelling online too. So that's very new. So this digitalization is also very important for the Erasmus Plus program. Then participation in democratic life. And this is very much linked also to the European values like tolerance, the equality, freedom, human rights, and so on. So this is the participation. And these four, yeah, I call them issues or themes, are very important in the program. And as such, it wants to contribute to the building of a European education area. Now, who can apply in Erasmus Plus? And this is important for you as an individual. If you don't have your own company or your own organization, you cannot. You have to be a member or somebody who works for an organization, because organizations can apply. That's important. But I know that a lot of you work as self-employed people and have their own company or business, so to say. So then you can apply, because well, it depends for what action you want to go to. But if you have a role, for instance, in adult learning, and it's written somewhere in your legal status of your organization, then you can participate in KA1, for instance. Yeah, the two uh, things you see here. KA refers to key action. Yeah. So Erasmus Plus has got three key actions, main key actions. So key action 1, 2, and 3. So, but always you have to be an organization. So it's the organization that applies for its staff, for its learners. Okay. And that important is that formal, non-formal, and informal learning are very important. The three of them are important in Erasmus Plus. So it's formal learning means that you go to a school and you get a certificate, yeah, an official degree. Non-formal learning is you go somewhere where you want to learn something as a participant. For instance, you go to a museum, you don't get a diploma or a certificate, but that's non-formal learning. If I go to a storyteller and I want to listen to stories about the past, yeah, then I learn about that past. So that's non-formal learning. So you in your sector belong normally to the non-formal sector, or even to the informal sector. And informal, you go somewhere and you didn't intend to learn, but you learn anyway. That's informal learning. Now, I told you that when you deal with people with fewer opportunities in your project, then you can get a top up. So this means that you can get extra money, €100 per person that you involve in your project. So it is making it true. It's important to focus also on people with fewer opportunities, because this inclusion is important. Green travel means that if you have to travel abroad, yeah, then, and if you do the biggest part of your travel via the low emission transport, then you can get a top up, and you see here how much more money you can get. And then low emission can be train, can be bus, can be carpooling, can be yeah, and there's a top up also, so you can travel longer. Yeah, you get more time to travel green. Now, I focus on key action 1. What is there for you in key action 1? It's about learning mobility for staff and learners. And the the mobility is mostly blended. This means a mix of physical and virtual traveling. So you go somewhere, but there is a preparation before and there is a follow up afterwards. So you have to go, you have to leave your own country and move to the other one because we want you to see and explore the world. Yeah. And you can go to a program country in adult education here. Yeah. A program country, you see the pages are mentioned. There is a reference or a link, direct link to the guide in my presentation, which you will get. And there you can look up. But program countries are all the EU member states and also the three EFTA countries like Iceland, Liechtenstein, and Norway. And then we also have Turkey, Serbia, and northern part of Macedonia. They are the Republic part of Macedonia, so they are in the program countries, and you can travel there. You get money for that. These are the goals of KA1 in adult education. And then you see like values of inclusion, diversity, tolerance, and democratic participation. And you can address those topics via storytelling, I very much believe. Also, knowledge about shared European heritage and diversity. That's also something that matches with storytelling. The professional networking in Europe is important. The professionals, I mean educators, people working in non-formal, like you, education, so they can do their professional networking within Europe. Also improving the quality of formal, non-formal, and formal learning, adult education for key competencies and life skills. The key competencies, for instance, intercultural awareness is one of them. Uh, Languages, you can do storytelling and language learning match together as well. Yeah. And then there's also the important part of a goal to have adults of all ages participate, like seniors, for instance, yeah, or people with a socio-economic background that offers them barriers. Yeah, so community-based grassroots organizations, they can participate well. We want them in the program. Yeah. Now, what can you do as staff? I start with staff. You are at, I see you as storytellers, as educators, yeah, in non-formal learning, especially of adult education, adult learning. Uh, you're not a learner, you are an educator in our program. You have to see you as an educator. Okay. Now, what can you do? You can go on a course, a training to learn to do your job better so that you can do these goals that I just have said. Yeah, like linking and this professionalization about European heritage. You can do that better via a course, maybe, or a training. And what can a training be? That's a seminar, whatever. Yeah, okay. New, there's more money for courses. So 80 euro per day per course that you follow. That's only for the course, cost for courses. Then something that has been improved as well, a teaching assignment. So you as an educator can go and teach your storytelling and then all these goals that you want to address, or for some of them, you don't have to do them all. But so in a teaching assignment, so you go to another host organization and there you work and you can work there till now 365 days, and there you can do your storytelling in order for the learners there to learn, yeah, what you want to tell them and learn them. Also interesting is you can do job shadowing, so you can go to another storyteller organization and see how they work, for instance with people with special needs, for instance. Yeah, that's possible for 2 to 60 days, and you get funding for traveling, for subsistence, for your organization too, the organization that sends you on this learning mobility. Positive also, alternative, if you don't want to go, you can invite a colleague, for instance, from abroad to come to do this with you. So that somebody comes to you and does job shadowing and sees how you work. Yeah. And also he or she can do a teaching assignment in your place, or they can attend a training course in your country. Yeah, that's also possible. Then for learners, this is very new in Erasmus Plus, that we can have adult learners traveling abroad to learn in KA1, in this Key Action 1. And they can do that with a group of minimum 2 learners. That's a group. Yeah. And then you can take them on a learning mobility abroad in cooperation with a host organization, and then they can do lots of formal, informal activities, learning activities, peer learning activities with other adult learners. They can do volunteering tasks and things like that. But the aim is to improve their key competencies, and or they can also focus on topics like inclusion, environmental care, digitalization, or participation in democratic life. Then in the KA1, if you want to take learners with you, then you can also take an individual learner to a host organization and then offer them there a lot of non-formal and informal activities so that they improve their knowledge and skills. Now, what is in here for you? I think it can be interesting for you if you know that this is very new, this action. Yeah. If you know that an organization is bringing low skilled adult learners to your country, to your city, and they want to offer them non formal, informal activities, maybe you, as an educator in storytelling, you might say, well, look, I want to be part of this training that you are going to give, and I am going to participate offering them non formal, informal activities. You could do that. And also, so spread the word about the value of storytelling. Then there is something extra now. It's also new in KA1, and this goes for school education, in adult education, and in VET. VET stands for vocational education and training. So there, these organizations can ask for an educator from abroad to come to their organization and help them teach there. As I see you as an educator, well, but then storyteller, this is about people, educators who are in training. So they are still, uh, they haven't stopped studying yet. Yeah. So they're still studying, or they have recently graduated. So within the 12 months after graduation, those educators can come for 10 days minimum up till 365 days, and they teach, they help teach, they do job shadowing, and they learn how the organization, their host organization, works. The host organization gets funding, financial support, and the travel costs and the subsistence costs are paid for by the sending organization. Now, here, as these are educators in training, yeah, or recently graduated ones, they will mostly be in higher education and they will be paying. Yeah. Uh, but it's not only for educators, but also for experts. And you can be experts, but you have all finished your studies. Yeah. I think. Yeah, maybe some of you still are in training, so then this is an option. But if you are you are also experts in storytelling, and you can help them learn the host organization. Yeah, um, and here an organization can ask an expert to come and to help them for 2 to 60 days and teach staff, learners, whatever. And this can happen in school, in adult education, and in VET. The financing goes via the host organization, so the one who applies for this KA1, and the host organization also gets money to pay for the travel and subsistence for these experts they want to invite. I think this is for you something really valuable because you can be invited and they have money to get you to their place to come as an expert storyteller in school, in adult, and in vet. uh, Useful to find where do you find schools who want to invite maybe a storyteller. Well, use ipale for adult education and cvet. Cvet is for continuous vocational training, and then the school education gateway, that's CEG, that's for school education and for initial vet, initial vocational training. So go to those websites, make yourself known so that schools and adult education and vet organizations find you. Next to that, they can also, schools can also, or these organizations, they can also apply for a preparatory visit in KA1, and that's in order to prepare a long-term mobility of a teacher or for low skilled adult learners mobility. You could also be there and say, well, if you come for a preparatory visit, well, I can help you with your, and then together we can discuss the learning path that we'll set out for your learners. Now, how can you participate in KA1? And I say the program wants to be simple, yeah. You can do that via a short-term project. This is simple, easy, and the first deadline, as Guy said, is the 11th of May. You can ask for this as your organization, so to go abroad, to do all the things that I just mentioned, but there is a maximum of 30 mobility activities per project. Can be one person, can be 30. Yeah, doesn't matter. 30 learning mobility activities per project. And Commission has promised us this is going to be very simple, very easy. So I hope it will be, think it will be. And it has a duration then, your project, for half a year till 18 months. Yeah, 1 year and a half. You can also do it via a so-called accredited project. This is a kind of membership thing that you ask as your organization. Then it's another type of application, a bit more difficult than the former one, than the short term, which is simple and easy. But as a single organization, if you have your own organization, you can be accredited, become accredited. You could also link up with other storytellers from your country, other partner organizations, yeah, and then one leader hands in the application for all of you. That's what we call a consortium. Yeah, you have leader and then you have members, partners from your country, from that country of the leader, and they together hand in an application for accreditation, and then we have an accredited project. And this is then an application for on the long term. In order to make it easy, this first application will be a bit more difficult, and the next deadline is the 19th of October, where you have to explain what you want to do on the long term with this kind of learning mobilities in KA1. But then, if you've got it, if you get your approval, then it will become very easy because in spring of the next year, then you only have to do a very light and simple application. So once you have become accredited as an organization or as a consortium, you're in for 7 years. That's nice to know. So it gives you a membership for 7 years. Uh, then also you can participate in KA1 without doing any application. If you hate the paperwork, you can do it like that too. Like, do receive people from abroad to come and teach with you. Yeah, that's also part of internationalization at home. But you could also be a partner in a consortium. So once you know the consortia in your own country, you can find them on the websites of your national agencies, or are a member. Well, then you can just ask them, can I join? And when they do their budget application, they can count you in. You don't have to do anything, just be there. And as an organization, you can have a maximum of 2 KA1 contracts in one domain. You can have more if you want to combine it with school education, vet. Those are 4 domains. Yeah. And then you can have a lot more even and be a partner there without doing anything. Yeah. You see the combinations of financing that are possible. You can read them for yourself. But once you are a consortium coordinator in one of these domains, then you are ineligible for a short-term project, yeah, in that domain. That's not possible. Okay, important for you to know when it comes to adult education, be there on the EPALE website. And EPALE is a virtual platform, as you can see. It offers networking, partner finding, it offers courses, seminars for people working in adult education and in continuous vet. Yeah, it has a new look. Maybe you looked before, but now it's brand new. It's going to be brand new within maybe today, maybe tomorrow, I don't know, but it will be very soon. It will be totally ready with new features. Now, for you, I think, as storytellers, it's important to make yourself known. So put your training there so that you can invite learners to come with their money to attend your courses that you are doing on storytelling. There will be an interest, I'm very sure. Make yourself known. Yeah. Next to that, in KA2, that's another action. So I've finished now with KA1. In KA2, you can do cooperation partnerships and small scale partnerships. Deadline 20th of May. What does it mean? You first of all have to address one of the priorities. There are 4 horizontal priorities, which means they go for the 4 domains: higher education, vocational training, adult education, and school education. Yeah. And those are inclusion and diversity, the environment, digitalization, and participation. Next to that, there are sector specific priorities, and they are per domain. Yeah. For adult education, for instance, there is professionalization of educators working in adult education, or how can you work with seniors, attracting seniors in the European uh, work that we do on education. So this is something maybe for you. So look at the sector specific priorities closely too. You can choose one. Yeah. You only have to choose one of those. Yeah. Maximum 3. Yeah. Uh, Now then, for the small scale partnerships, they are supposed to be easy and simple too. They are meant for newcomers, organizations that haven't been involved in the program so far. Yeah. Or in this type of working together in KA2. Small organizations, grassroots organizations, yeah, which are close to the local level. And the inclusion of target groups with fewer opportunities here is very important. Also, active citizenship and bringing the European dimension on local level. It's a very easy project application because what do you have to tell us? You have to tell us what are our aims, what are your activities, what are you going to do with them with it, and what will be your results. That's very easy. And the financing is also easy, the Commission says. One lump sum, 30,000 euro or 60,000 euro. You choose the budget. Then for the cooperation partnerships, they are a bit more complicated. Yeah, there you see the goals. What do we aim for? And then, interesting for you, the activities they are going to do should be relevant, and they have the same priorities, yeah, as the small scale. Yeah, but they can also do learning, teaching, and training activities. And here they can involve experts, educators, storytellers of non-partner organizations. So you could be invited to participate in a KA2 project activity in a learning, teaching, training activity and do your thing as well as expert on storytelling, which is also quite interesting, I think. Um, Here you see some kind of comparison between the small scale partnerships and the cooperation ones. You see the numbers, KA 220, and yeah, you can read it. And then you see for the small scale, you only need to be 2 minimum. That's minimum. 2 is okay. For the other one, you need to be 3. In the small scale partnership, only partner countries can participate, but there's somebody from Canada here, Mickey. Yeah. Canada, you are a partner country. A partner country can be involved in a cooperation partnership if it has added value. So the applicant has to prove why Canada is needed, why it has an added value. If it does, then it's okay. Yeah. If it doesn't in the past, then the whole project application failed. Now it doesn't any longer. So the experts can take out Canada because they don't believe that there's so much added value of having Canada participate in this program. So Canada can participate. All the neighboring countries can participate. It's almost the whole world. Yeah. Then you see small scale meant for newcomers and so on. You see here cooperation partnerships are a bit more for experienced organizations, but they can invite a newcomer. They get an extra priority if they have a new organization. Yeah. It's more directed towards tangible results. You see here the duration. Yeah. I explained to you about the budget for the small scale. For the cooperation, you see it's between 100,000 euro and 400,000 euro. You also have unit costs there, but there are also real costs for some things and exceptional costs. And then you see, so there are staff costs involved for tangible results to make them. Yeah, you can do learning, teaching, and training activities, multiplier events if possible, and so on. Now, how to start? First of all, your organization should have an organizational identity. You can do that. You can find that. You can see that. So here in organizations, this is the website where you can look for or have this organizational idea. Yeah, where you can ask for it. You must have a personal EU login. That's for you as a person. The other one is for your organization. You need a program guide, of course, with all the things in it. And for more organization, please contact the national agency in your country. I'm Renilde and I work for the one in Belgium, Flanders. Yeah. You can also contact me. I want to help too. Yeah. Next to that, you go to opportunities. Where do you find the application forms? Here at opportunities. Yeah. And there, if you click, then you see the various domains and there you find the forms. Well, thanks a lot. I've been very quick, but according to Guy, I think I I have been talking too long already. But anyway, I'm open for questions and I'll stay with you till the end of this meeting.
Okay, thank you, Renilde. I have to, yes, I'm back here. So yes, there is possibility for questions and answers, Q&A session, but there will be two more, a bit more input. As I said in the beginning, Arjen and myself, we will tell you a bit more about, we will give examples. And I immediately give the floor to Arjen. Arjen, it's yours.
Yes, okay. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Renilde, for the very clear presentation with a lot of, well, new possibilities and continuous possibilities. Of course, I know quite a lot of you and some faces are already more often in my screen because of other European collaborations in KA2 projects. And indeed, as I said more often, working together in KA2 projects on applied storytelling in various ways can be very fruitful for your organization, really to grow, to gain experience. And yeah, so I, at the one hand, I would fully recommend everybody to take a serious look at it. At the other hand, be aware that it is, of course, really some work, and you have to be an experienced organization to deal with everything, and also to and you also need to to look forward to also look with other kind of organizations, because normally these collaborations are not only with storytelling organizations, although we have one with almost only storytelling organizations. But for example, we are also working with social welfare organizations, theater organizations, intercultural communication organizations. All of that had to because this most of the time these projects are broader than just storytelling or applied storytelling. What I would like to share with you quickly, I won't take too much of your time, but as we are in a sort of continuous flow, just like of preparing new projects, I would like to highlight two projects which we are preparing, and maybe you think, hey, this is interesting for my organization to join. Maybe you think, well, it's boring, then do not react. But nevertheless, I will present them. One is will be based on a previous project which I introduced before, the Alternative Ways project. Renilde knows it very well as well. In the Alternative Ways project, we developed a language method for people with low language learning skills. And storytelling was at the base of this new language method. We see that it's already gaining popularity, at least in the Netherlands, where people really want to be trained in this new method, and more organizations are using it. So we are astonished, to be honest, by the need and the interest in this method. But we want to see if we can bring it a step further with civic integration, participation, all based on storytelling. So then we combine the language which we all developed, which we already developed, with also other skills, life skills, you could say, that newcomers need to fully integrate in society. And again, we will focus on newcomers, third country nationals, however you want to call them, that with low learning skills. So not the ones who can perfectly learn everything in a cognitive way, in the formal learning ways, but really we want to focus on non-formal learning methods, using storytelling and using also some other things. So if you are interested in that, and maybe if you are already working with newcomers, third country nationals, non-EU migrants, on these fields, on integration, on and using stories for that story. And I'm not talking only about folk tales, etc. I'm also talking about autobiographical stories, etc. So if you are interested, well, maybe it's interesting to join. The other project which we are preparing right now is to see how storytelling can be used, well, let's say for democratization. We recently did a project in which we asked by the municipality of one of the parts of Amsterdam. We collected stories in order to influence the policies and of the municipality, and we found out how this could work. So how could stories of people be used to influence policies, to make systems more democratic. And of course, then you have to train also the people of the municipality in storytelling and how to listen to stories, etc. So we want to make an integral project in which we explore these kind of things just by listening to stories, collecting stories, and see how these stories can serve for change. So those are the two projects we, as for example, are preparing right now. By the way, one other thing, Renilde was also talking about the Key Action 1, the trainings. We are also preparing an alternative ways training. So this new language method for people with low language learning skills. And we want to organize in the beginning of next year an international training, which is open for everybody and which can also be applied with in Key Action 1, if I'm not mistaken, Renilde. But Jens van GO already told me that they want to come with 10 people. So So that's a bit what I wanted to present at this moment, what we are preparing. And if you have any questions after you can ask them.
Yes, okay, thank you very much, Arjen. So I also would like to add some examples, and I'm going to share the screen again. So I'm back to my presentation. I hope that you are able to see it. Indeed, I'm more talking about KA2, so the cooperation projects, than the KA1. And I'm not going to talk about these priorities. Renilde already explained that to you. I just want to give you some examples of projects that I've done in the past, and then some opportunities for now. So, for instance, perhaps some of you know this project, but the Sherazade project was a project that aimed at introducing storytelling in working with migrants, storytelling techniques for working with migrants, and then we're talking about help them surface the problems, just joining together. It's a bit language learning as well. So, and storytelling can play a very significant role in helping people unite with other people, give them a sense of belonging, and so on. So that's really, so telling your story and listening to the stories of others can be very rewarding in that respect. So that was one of the projects we did, and here you see the role of storytelling in as an instrumental tool for society. In story regions, we worked. We tried to find in education, in drama, in in other sectors in society, the role of storytelling and how can they cooperate through storytelling. Tales, for instance, was a was a project that was directly aimed at how can we use storytelling in education, the use of storytelling as a didactic tool. And there we cooperated with teacher training colleges, universities, organizations who worked in schools in a didactic way. Inherit, for instance, was a project about heritage interpretation. And there, that's also a very interesting sector for storytellers to work in. You know that interpretation and interpreting heritage in general, tangible and intangible, comes with a narrative, comes with stories, and that their storytelling can play a very important role as well. And at this moment, FEST, I'm talking on behalf of FEST. We're involved in a project about what competences do you need to engage in heritage communities. Heritage communities are communities that are one way or another linked to heritage, but that can be a castle or an abbey, but it also can be can be recipes or whatever. So or ethnic groups working together or in a certain area of the city. So heritage communities are communities that are involved in what they think is important for them as heritage. And so then the question is, how can you create better communities? How can you create better heritage communities? And one of the competences that is essential there is the narratives and storytelling. So these are projects that FEST is involved in. So, and I believe that it is because now I know that most of you or some of you are storytellers, and that you look at yourself as an artist, and of course, and as a performing artist, and of course that is 100% true. But as I said in the beginning of this evening, this is Erasmus Plus, and Erasmus Plus offers funding for training and education and training related activities. And so we're looking at applied storytelling. That applied can be in education, formal education, or as Renilde said, in non-formal education. But if you look at the situation here, the sentence here, so we can talk about schools, about teacher training organization, about community workers, about working with migrants, working in prisons, heritage interpretation, marketing, democracy, participation, language learning, nature guides, tourist guides, associations, therapists, regional development, narrative of the place, working with museums. And I can imagine that you think when Renilde said in the beginning, you have to be an organization. And perhaps some of you are not an organization. And then does that mean that Erasmus Plus is not for you? I would like to say, yes, still there are options. If you work as a storyteller in a prison, for instance, or you work as a storyteller in a museum, or you know a prison or a museum who are looking to introduce or are willing to introduce storytelling there, you can approach them and say, okay, there are funding opportunities for the educational department, so to speak, in prisons, or the learning department in museums, non-formal learning department, and if those museums work together, they can engage with a storyteller. So you are the expert, as Renilde said at that point. So in that respect, you don't have to be an organization. You have to be an organization if you want to officially profit from, for instance, KA1 mobility as an organization. But you as a storyteller, I hope that you can see yourself as an expert, as an educator, a non-formal or informal educator that can be linked to organizations that are working with storytellers or willing to introduce storytelling as an instrument, as a tool for anything. And if you look at all these organizations here, from school to the museums, so there are really numerous opportunities for you to step in possible cooperation projects as a storyteller. And that's what my last sentence, I would like the end of that paragraph. All these organizations all have a story to tell, but they do not necessarily involve storytellers. And I really would like you to see that sentence and perhaps say, okay, because it's really true. Education and other people and other organizations, they use the word storytelling, and sometimes they abuse the word storytelling, but because they don't really know what they're talking about. And I would like that the storytelling world, the professional or non-professional, I mean, the storytelling world would be more involved in this work, and that your qualities and your competences can play a role in those organizations, and that can be introduced through European projects by those organizations. So I hope that you see this as a possibility. I'm not sure if this is going to appear. Perhaps somebody can say that. Do you see this new thing, or hasn't your screen changed? It hasn't.
No.
No, it hasn't changed.
Okay, wait a second. Then I will stop sharing and I will share again. Then I think that's the way I have to do it. So in the presentation, you saw a link, and this is the link, and this is, by the way, a brochure, EU Funding for Culture, 21 to 27, because there are many programs now that starts in 21 and last till 27. And this is an overview of, and I'm not going to explain all this, but this is an overview of European funding programs. And for each program, they give a very short description what the funding opportunities are. And then they also say, I'm going to scroll perhaps to one of them. Wait a minute. So Creative Europe, of course, this is the cultural program. I'm not going to show that. This is the real cultural. This is a funding program dealing with wait a second. Here is the title: Asylum and Migration Fund. That's a European program, and so they talk about target group, they talk about objectives, and they say what's in it for culture. And so that's how this brochure is built. Each time it explains what's in it for culture. So the link is going to be in the presentation, and we will send you the presentation. And then I think this is worth looking into. And that's it. What I would like to say in the end, we're not stopping yet. So thank you for your attention. And I think now it's question and answer time from your side. So who has a question for either Renilde, Arjen, me, and I see Witold Vargas, he has, yes, Witold?
Okay, I just wanted to say hello to Agnieszka, but yes, I have a question. I've lost just a little bit of the expose then. My idea is to integrate people with whom is working. My sister is working in Luxembourg, but they are immigrants, and they are really they have a really hard life. They live in those camps. It's very hard for my sister no, she's not an immigrant. She works there as she takes care of those people, but they are not Europeans. And I thought I understood it is to integrate disabled people from Europe. Is that true?
It is, the program itself wants to make or to contribute to building a cohesive and inclusive society. Yeah. So they address people like migrants, like all people with fewer opportunities and all people facing barriers to learn. Yeah, because this is it's a program about learning. Huh? But if I'm not very sure what you meant. So you say your sister is a migrant in Luxembourg?
No.
No, she
She
works in
Luxembourg as I don't know exactly the name, but she takes care of the camp.
So there is an organization.
Yes.
That has an official status, a legal status.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Then in that organization, they can apply for KA1 and KA2 money. So if she, for instance, wants to cope with racism or discrimination, she can go on a course abroad. Or if she wants to use storytelling, yeah, to make to help the children in the camp, for instance, or to have the migrants, yeah, or the parents or whatever, and stimulate, for instance, the learning about European heritage. Yeah, what is it, and what is it for me as a migrant coming from Syria, for instance? What does Europe mean? Yeah, so this is also part of making people getting integrated into the new society where they are. So if she wants to work on that and she wants to use storytelling, she can either invite a storyteller from abroad to come there, or she can go abroad to learn about how she can use storytelling, for instance. That's possible.
Okay, super. I was thinking about cooperating with her from here as a storyteller.
That's also possible.
Engaging those people, those immigrants, to tell their stories in Europe, because to being here listened is also a form of being integrated. Yes, not only talking, just being listened.
Yeah, and also it's also part of language learning. You can involve various things there, various competencies, key competencies. Also, life skills are important for the program. They are explicitly mentioned now. Yeah.
Okay.
His original question, Renilde, was that those migrants were not European migrants, but that's not the point.
That's not the point. No, they are in Europe. So yeah.
Yes,
they are in Europe.
They take part of our society anyway. Yes.
Yeah.
Although their participation is very restricted, extremely restricted.
Okay.
Because of we can't go into that, but yeah.
More questions?
I do have a comment. At the beginning, I know there was a query as to why someone in Canada would be interested in something that was meant for a European community. But I was particularly interested in the way the grants were set up, because we also have that kind of problem here. We get most of our grants from the Canada Arts Council or the various provincial arts councils. And we've constantly been just sort of slotted in with literature. That's it. And of course, storytellers are so much more. And I was particularly interested in the way you had set up the requirements for these grants. And as an organization, Storytellers of Canada, we work for every province, and we do give certain grant money each year for various things. And I was really interested in perhaps going in the same direction as Erasmus right now, on a much smaller scale, of course. But thank you very much. It was very clear, very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Jennifer, yes? Mm-hmm.
Just a quick question. I'm very interested in working around the subject of death, to make it, through storytelling, to make death more inclusive in education and in society. I'm trying to work out where that would fit in terms of, is that life skills, or any ideas? What would...
Yeah, perhaps me. So my question would be, what organizations are dealing with death in this in society? Are we talking about people who accompany elderly people or terminally ill people, something like that? So I think then you need organizations that work in that sector, work on that, and perhaps approach them and say, okay, do you see any benefit in working with stories and storytelling? And then those professionals and you yourself also, you could cooperate. The organizations there could cooperate, because then perhaps you and the organizations, they could try to learn more about how can we use storytelling and storytelling techniques in better accompany people, or are you referring to people confronted with death and mourning people who are, or are you referring to people who are terminally ill, elderly people? So
no, not terminally ill. Just the subject of death that's being sort of excluded from our society. And there are organisations that are beginning to move that. So it would be, I'll be in contact with them. I'm thinking of one in the UK. Now that the UK isn't part of the European Union, is it still inside or not?
No. So
it's not. The UK is out now.
Renilde talked about program countries and partner countries.
Okay.
And
Right.
program countries, they're definitely in. A partner. So the UK is now like Switzerland or like Canada. So they can be involved, but if they have special expertise or knowledge that is not available elsewhere, so to speak.
Okay.
So there is a way, but so yeah, they're like other third countries in a way, and they're called partner countries.
Okay, thanks.
But anyway, so for me, the point would be, okay, who is dealing with this? What kind of organizations is dealing with this and working in society on this topic? And then you can approach them and say, what about storytelling and what about the role of storytelling in these processes and so on? And then those organizations, they can go for a K1, like job shadowing. How is it done in this country? How do and so on. So then you have these opportunities. But and I think that's an important point here. You as a storyteller, you have to find your role one way or another, and then you have to find organizations that are playing this, doing this where you want to interfere, or where you want to create an added value as a storyteller in this social aspect. And then those organizations can cooperate, and that's an, I'm not saying an easy, but that's a way to get involved. And Renilde raised her hand, so I'm going to give the floor to Renilde. Oh, and Arjen as well. So Renilde and Arjen.
I just want to say, Jennifer, I'm busy with the project, with people in palliative care, training them, and all around death. And so maybe we can contact each other anyway, because it's also one of the things we're dealing with now on a local level. Sorry, yeah.
Okay, I give the floor to Renilde and then to Justin. Okay, Renilde?
Sorry, yeah, death as such does not really appear in our thick program guide, but civic engagement is, yeah, and life skills are. So you could make a combination with that, like if people get more, shall I say, if the reluctance to talk about death diminishes or reduces, then you are working to a better feeling for people in society also. So, but for instance, you could do things with a library, yeah, and together with a library somewhere where you can also discuss culture, books about death, yeah. But I mean, you have to see in what way are you going to link up with the priorities and the themes of the program, yeah. Death as such you won't find, but try to make it more like the program formulates it, yeah, like civic engagement could be, yeah, could be a topic where you can find your way in, yeah.
It would also be strange when death was a priority in the program.
Okay.
Healing stories.
Justin, I would like to give you the floor.
Thank you very much. Good evening. Thank you, Jennifer, for pointing to the death. And I would like to ask, because I'm working here with the state university by giving education to medical students and doctors, and in palliative health or treating of dying people. And I would like to ask if this is a public school, public university. Is it also for public institutions possible to get to that grant? And is that aim by giving education to as a professional to students or medicals? Is it the aim of this project too? Thank you very much.
Public organizations and private ones, they can all participate, but you have to have a legal status. And for some organizations, the national agency can ask for a kind of bank guarantee. And some part of those costs you can bring into so you can get funding up till 80% of the real costs for this bank guarantee. But a public organization is welcome. Of course it is. Yeah, very much. As you hear that Arjen is also thinking about project on palliative health. So that's possible. Yeah, it's because you're dealing with people who are facing barriers to learn. Yeah. Or and sickness and so on, they are explicitly mentioned now with people with fewer opportunities. So they're all there. Yeah, it's a focus. Is that an answer to your question?
Yes, thank you very much. I will walk through and then we'll just discuss it with the director there. Thank you.
Maybe I should say for the small scale partnerships in KA2, there the higher education organizations cannot apply, but they can be a partner for expertise that they can offer within the program.
Thank you very much.
Or a project, but.
I saw Janneke raising her hand. I have to admit that I only have one screen at this moment, so it's possible that I don't see you. But anyway, Janneke, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'll lower it again. Just to make clear, in any project, there has to be a movement from one country to another. So if you say you work for a museum and you say apply a grant so I can do that for you, you also have to invite the storyteller from another country. Otherwise, this won't work. Am I right in that? No.
No, it's not mutual. KA1 is from your country to, from the Netherlands to Belgium to, not to the UK, that's a program, that's a partner country. But I mean, you can go to Slovakia, to Malta, whatever. Yeah, so you can go there without them coming back.
Now that's not what I mean. It sort of goes to what Guy said. If you work for a museum and they don't have the funding, you can ask them to unite and ask for funding so they can hire you.
Sure.
It would have to be. It would have to involve people from more than one country then.
Yeah,
or museums from more than one country.
If you are in a cooperation project, it must involve minimum 3 organizations from 3 different countries.
Okay.
So, and then we're talking about indeed minimum 3. If it's museums, then it's 3 museums, and yeah. So, but that's cooperation. That's
but not just 3 museums, but the entire project has to involve people from at least 2 different countries.
You need
there needs to be an international aspect to it.
In a small scale partnership, you only have to be 2 organizations from 2 partner program countries, from 2 program countries. So 2 countries. In a cooperation partnership, there you have to be minimum 3.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah? And it needn't be 3 museums. It can be 1 teacher training organization, whatever. Yeah. It's just you have to compose a good partnership that can do what you want to do.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else? I see Teresa. Oh, Teresa.
Yes. Hello. Good evening. Hello. 2 questions. The first one is, how much paperwork do the partners have to do? For example, on a partner corporation, does the leader do most of the paperwork and the other ones have their name on it, or does each organization have to fill out forms? And the second question is concerning the short-term project. The deadline is May 11th, and there's a duration of 6 to 18 months. Now, of course, we all hope that everything's going to open up for movement purposes. Does the Commission consider extending the time if movement is difficult after 18 months?
To answer your last question, yes. Now we have projects that haven't been able to do much, because all the mobility stopped. So there's a lot of understanding there, and so there is the opportunity to prolongate or to make it longer, your contract. But in some cases, it's not possible. It depends on the rules, and the Commission cannot just say, okay, everything can be lengthened. So if it's not possible, then the money has to come back. But there is a lot of understanding for online things, so you can also use budget for online things now too, for online meetings and so on. So there's a lot of understanding, but this is something that's beyond our and the Commission's means. Sorry, and your first question, I'm sorry, you said
about the partner corporations.
Do they have a lot of work? Well, it really depends. No, normally they have to, if they have their own OID, then you already have a lot of information, like the legal representative and so on. But we usually recommend organizations or applicants to help to see how partners deal with it and discuss it thoroughly, so that you have a joint feeling of belonging to the project. So you should exchange ideas, discuss where do we want to go, what do we want to do. That's important. And if you can stimulate them to write things themselves too, on behalf of the project, then it's perfect, I think. But some don't. So it really depends on how you want to divide the work, but you can via the application forms, you can have people read your application so that they can add things or say things. You can also have share rights so that they can write as well. It depends. But normally a partner doesn't have to do that much, but he or she has to be sure that they can get something out of it too, and that they are not expected to do work that they don't like or don't want to do, or not able to do. Arjen, maybe you can say something about this, about partner cooperation. How do you work with your partners? I mean, do they contribute a lot? Do they have to write a lot, or how do you work with it as a coordinator?
Yeah, that's how. Yeah. So I mean, in many projects we are the lead partner, and of course the lead partner has to do quite a lot. And but I'm thinking the partners, because we are also in some partnerships we are a partner organization, and of course you have to contribute to if it's really a key one with so-called intellectual outputs. I think they're differently named now in the new in the new program, or not. I don't.
Results.
There are results now. Okay, but of course all the partners contribute to it, and most of the time specific partners have specific roles in that. I have to say that administratively the work of the partners is rather limited. Yeah, so indeed you have to do timesheets, and of course you have to do some administration, but no, it's not it's not a lot of work. But most of the work is for the lead partner, but of course you don't have to become immediately a lead partner. I would strongly advise not to do it, certainly when you're a new organization.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and in the small scale partnerships now, there is no timesheet.
Mm-hmm.
That's not non-existent. It's very easy.
It's really easy.
If there are no, yeah, okay. I would like to say, indeed, if you write an application, of course, if you want to have a role in this as a partner organization, you are specialized in something, because otherwise you would not be a partner in the consortium. You have to describe your role, and you have to talk about yourself, and if you want to have a good role in this, then of course you have to cooperate in the application. But indeed, the lead partner is responsible for this. About your second question, I, for instance, can say that that the 4th year of the FEST network application started on the 1st of June 2020, and was supposed to last till the 31st of May in 2021. But as you can imagine, with COVID, we were unable. And also the organization, the member organizations of FEST, they were unable to do what they wanted to do in terms of festival organization, conference organization, meeting, exchanges, etc., etc. We applied for an extension of what is called the eligibility period. So we officially applied to make this year 4 longer than it originally was. And even I can say that yesterday we received the confirmation that year 4 of FEST now will last till the end of December 21. Because the Commission was really, and I think in the future also, the Commission really was flexible in this respect. And of course, they know that all organizations suffered from the situation, and all cultural organizations and all cultural professionals suffer from this situation. And they didn't, so I can say that, yes, they were very flexible. They knew what was going on. And yeah, so FEST year 4 will last longer so that we can finalize our activities and make sure that the member organizations are able to finalize their activities as well. I think I saw Matthias raising, yeah. Or was there somebody else? No. Anyway, so, and then if your question is, what about the future? I don't know if we're involved in wave 4, 5, or 6. We will. Okay, let's hope that is not going to be the case. Mm-hmm. Anything else? Stella, you have a question.
Yeah, I always feel very stupid when I listen to projects and how to make applications and what they're involved and who they apply for and who they don't. I don't understand a word. So it's sort of beyond my imagination. So I'm wondering if, you know, an organization like Arjen's, for example, could extend an invitation to me or other people like me who don't understand a word of how to do applications, to learn, to teach them, to, you know, be with them for 3 or 4 days to understand what it's about. That's my question.
Renilde, is this possible?
Yeah, this is.
Yeah, well, Arjen can do that if he is willing to. I can also help. I mean, what we do with our agency, but that's done in Dutch, but we can also do it in English if you want to. I mean, it's discussing the application forms. And for instance, if you start with a KA1, which is really simple because it's you going out somewhere. Yeah, if you want to do that. Or if you want to participate in a small scale partnership, that's done, and you take it 2 or 3 people, organizations, sorry, and you want to set up something jointly. Yeah, think of ideas that pop up and that match. They should match the aims, the goals of Erasmus Plus, of course. Yeah, you have to link up there, but then we could discuss it further. The concept, does it fit with Erasmus Plus? What should be extra added, and so on. I'm willing to help and also see to what do the questions mean. But I think for the small scale partnerships, they are really easy. It's about what is your aim? What do you want to achieve? What are you going to do to reach those aims? And what will be the results?
But
That
what
seems
about
easy.
preparatory visits and yeah, to learn and so on? Is there an option there?
The sort of job shadowing, but job shadowing is a little longer.
Well, you can do a job shadowing for 1 week. Yeah, Stella could come to Arjen and visit there and discuss how he works and how the projects work, and then build on that. I want to learn in order then later on, and that's a perfectly good application for you, Stella. If you say, I want to go with KA1 to the Netherlands, for instance, and see how Arjen works, so that I can later on do project work, European project work myself. That's perfectly possible. You can apply for that now on the 11th of May.
You're always welcome, Stella, you know that.
You're going to have to make an application, Stella, to understand how you have to make an application.
Right.
But yes, first you have to do an application, but a simple one, a very simple one.
Yeah.
I read a remark here from Aurora. As far as I know, there are agencies that are doing the application for you, and they take a percentage of the grant if you win. I hope you're not referring to national agencies, because like Renilde works for an official or for the official national agency, so they're not allowed to help you with the application. But of course, there are private people willing to write. They're private, so there are private people willing to write an application for you.
Yeah.
Problem there might be, do they know you very well? Do they know the partner organizations well enough? I've seen projects written by indeed private organizations, and then the people who are in the project, they don't know what it is about, and they are not capable of running the project. So, but it exists. That's true. There are project writers, professional project writers. That's true.
I know from the Dutch agency that they often immediately recognize these, and I think Renilde has the same experience. They immediately recognize what is written by an organization itself or by a private agency. So I be careful with it.
Mm-hmm.
They explicitly ask for it. There's a box you have to tick. Is this been written by a professional fundraising?
Now they do. Yeah, that's
Okay.
right. Yeah. But it's you can spot it rather quickly.
Yep.
And we get applications that are similar for organization X, Y, Z, 3 very similar applications. What do? We turn all 3 down. because they haven't been written by themselves, but they were written by this professional, and yeah, just copy paste.
Yeah, off the shelf texts, and then yeah, I mean it's recognizable, of course. And those texts come back, because they usually don't, of course, they don't write a brand new application for you. That would cost probably a lot, but they use paragraphs, sentences, texts that they have in copy paste. And if the national agency discovers copy paste, or they discover, oh, this is introduced there and the same project is there, and so on, then you're in trouble. Yeah. Anything else? Any other question?
Just a very short one. Is there going to be an available recording of this meeting, the meeting today? Because I lost a part of the
This is
presentation.
recorded, yes, from the start.
And available in the site, in the FEST?
Yeah, we will put it on the FEST site, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Magda?
Yes, just what about the presentation? How can we look?
You mean the PowerPoints?
Yes, because
yeah, okay, we'll mail it. We'll mail it to you.
Okay, great.
Tati will mail it to you probably next Monday.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Anything else? Agnieszka.
Agnieszka, I mean, maybe if I can ask maybe a little bit revolutionary question, but do you have a feeling that after so many Erasmus projects, you really came up with one which of output was something incredibly innovative, and you were very enthusiastic about it? So is it just only bureaucracy and some meetings, or is it, and the results are really make you happy?
I have been involved in, I don't know,
I think the project.
35 European projects. So I've yes, and there are a number of projects of which I think really this was a nice project, and we created nice products. I like Shirazade, for instance, as a project. I like it very much. I've done projects on ICT, on project on quality care. Yes, I have to admit, yeah, if it's just for the meetings, then I mean yeah, of course it's fun to meet, but no, they're not all equally successful, but that's true. And sometimes you have partners who haven't done really what you expected them to do. But in general, I have to admit, otherwise I wouldn't be here. So in general, I have to admit that I liked very much being in European projects, and I also liked the results and the outcomes. Yes, but that's my perhaps somebody else will. But I'm quite proud of the European projects that Alden Biesen and now with FEST and so on that we have done, and I'm always been happy in this as a fitting bond. So yes. But you're right. I mean, it's a genuine good question. But I think you're all professionals. You're all self-employed people. You're not going to be in a European project just for the fun of traveling. I mean, you have many more reasons to step into European projects. It's for learning, it's for work, it's working opportunities, etc., etc. So I think yeah, we have to look into that as well.
It is on different levels. So indeed, some projects really, for example, the Shirazade project, I wasn't part of it, but I see that as a very important project still. But it works on so many levels, on your own organization, on a regional level, national level, sometimes indeed this international level and a European level. And it would be good if it would be a bit more, that all the projects would have this work on European level, but even if it is already on a regional level or etc., or in your organization and in the partner organizations, it gives a lot of new insights and knowledge. I mean, it is so multi-leveled, I think, and I think you should consider it like that.
The first question now in the application is what are the benefits for the partner organizations and for the target group? So they also ask in what way the partner organizations benefit from the project, from the work, because that's also one of the things they really want. That is that the organizations grow and improve as a learning organization, so to speak, from the European cooperation. But of course, there is also the target group.
Yeah, we've seen lots of very, very nice examples, and also examples of projects that still are going on, you know. So one of the first ones that we had in the Grundtvig time, that was a learning partnership. You could compare it to the small scale partnerships that are now on offer. Very happy to have that format again. But then, so there we had a cultural center that was working with people with mental handicaps, and they had a partner in Malta and one in the UK. And they did with performing art. They worked on a local level with these people with mental handicaps, adults. And they established working a good relationship. So they went to each other. They took their adult learners with them with special needs, people who had never traveled before. And thanks to that, this is still going on, you know, within the local organization, and they still are entangled. They still have discussions, talks with their ex-partners. Yeah. So I'm very happy to see that, because this cultural center now, the staff is used to seeing people with mental handicaps to come to performances. And in the very past, long time before the project, those people didn't come to the cultural center, only once, because then they had 1 day per year, there was a performance for these people and their parents. But then because of this project, when they started coming to this cultural center every week, so it opened up, and the staff was at first a bit astonished, like, whoa, what's this? Because these people are very open and so on. But now it's a regular thing. So it happens weekly that they come to the theater, to this cultural center, and have performances and exercises among them. So I say it's opening up its participation. What we also see is that people who have been involved in a European project, they want to continue. They want to build up. They want to move further. Because they get a network. They know about how things are going on in other countries with topics that they are interested in. So it's also opening up your view on things, and you get friends, which is quite exciting, and that doesn't stop. Yeah.
I think we got to stop. So it's 9:39. Is there one urgent question or something like that, or nothing? So in that case, I really would like to thank Renilde for your presentation and for your expertise. And yeah, and it's good to have a real NA representative so among us. Thank you very much. And Arjen also for your expertise. And I know you do a number of projects, so thank you very much.
Great.
And thank you very much, everybody. And I really hope, so don't worry if you are not able to do something before the deadline of 11th of May or the 20th of May. So in the next couple of years, there are opportunities, but I really hope that this grows within the storytelling sector. That's my hope. But I do agree, storytelling is a performing art, and we will also have to work on that part of it. But perhaps if the program, the Creative Europe program will be there, and the program guide for Creative Europe in the next couple of weeks, we might repeat this and talk about the opportunities in Creative Europe. And then we're talking about performing art and artists. Okay, Thank you very much, everybody. Good evening.
Lots of success. And if
Bye.
you have questions, do ask. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.